Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing a review of the first episode of the new Disney Plus exclusive, or I guess original series, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Now, I know this first episode is a little late, but I was pretty busy throughout the week after the first episode was released, so I haven't gotten around to doing a review of it until now. And by this time, episode 2 is out, so yeah, it's a little late, but I'm planning on trying to do an episode for the previous episode each weekend, so maybe on Sundays. So you can expect episode 2's review in a couple days, hopefully, as long as everything goes to plan. So yeah, that's just a little introduction to let you know why I'm doing a review on episode 1 a week after it came out. But yeah, it's just something that I wanted to do, but just the time the series debuted, it was a little tricky to be able to review it the same weekend it was coming out. But that's just me, so hopefully the future episodes will be more, or the time period will be less busy for me, so I can be more prompt in releasing the review. So yeah, but I mean, I don't really want to talk anymore about my failure at getting this out on time, so without further ado, let's just get into the episode. So this episode, the first episode of the series, is New World Order, and it's obviously set after the events of Avengers Endgame, and we kind of get to see in the first episode where Sam Wilson, or Falcon, and Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier, where they are at in their own lives following the events of Endgame. Obviously, Captain America went back in time to live out his life in peace, and that was very impactful to both of these characters' lives, so it does make sense that they'd be connected in the future. So, but yeah, I mean, Sam, in this time, he's like a special soldier, basically, doing special missions behind enemy lines for the U.S. military, so we get to see him in action early on, and just the entire opening sequence is very fast-paced, very energetic, and very cinematic in feel and scope. It definitely feels like something ripped right out of one of the Marvel movies, and for that, it's definitely one of the best scenes, if not the best scene in the first episode, just for how smooth and crisp and action-packed it is. It's a very fun sequence, and I mean, it was a little jarring to me because Falcon has used guns before, and the fact that he was just trying to get up close to fight each of these guys, I mean, yeah, it was cool for the episode, the entire sequence playing out, but in the back of my mind, I'm sitting there going, doesn't he have guns? Can he just shoot these guys? And it's not like he has qualms with killing the bad guys, because he does it a couple times towards the end of the fight. But yeah, just a nagging thought in the back of my mind, but that's just nitpicks. It was a very good opening scene. But from there, we get to learn that Sam is dealing with personal issues in his family. His sister, they're having financial issues and kind of are at odds because of it. And I feel like that's going to be a part of his story that lingers. I mean, episode 2, which I don't want to talk too much about it because this is episode 1's review, but that isn't really brought up. But I do think Sam's family is going to come back into play later in the series. It's going to be a rather substantial part. But it kind of dragged on, I feel, which I know it's setting up the character and setting up the relationship because we haven't seen Sam's family before, and kind of building the relationship there and showing what it's like. And it does make sense that his sister's upset at him and stuff, but at the same time, it kind of detracts when you have such an action-packed opening. It kind of bogs it down, but it is important to have character development, so I understand that. But not only is Sam dealing with his family problems, but he also is dealing with the struggle of taking on the mantle of Captain America, which Steve Rogers passed on to him at the end of Endgame. And Sam, he doesn't feel worthy of carrying the shield or carrying on the legacy of Captain America, so he passes the shield on to the government to house in like a museum, basically. And it is cool. I'll go and bring it up here that we got to see Rhodey again. And I hope he does make another appearance. It kind of feels like it could be setting up for an appearance later on, or it could have just been his only appearance in the show. But I definitely wouldn't mind seeing Rhodey again. He's one of my favorite Marvel superheroes, or I guess, is he a superhero? I mean, I guess he is, but one of my favorite characters in the MCU. So it's cool to see him again, and I'm excited for his future show that he's going to have. But yeah, it's just a cool little cameo. Not really a cameo, I guess it was a guest role, maybe. But yeah, it's cool to see him, and I kind of get the feeling that they're trying to set up like a new era Avengers kind of. So like Steve is gone, Tony Stark is gone, like Sam, Rhodey, other Avengers are going to take their place, and take the place of the Avengers who have died, like Black Widow and Iron Man and stuff. So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, because we're kind of in a strange period in terms of the Marvel Cinematic Universe where, like, the Avengers, like, are the Avengers really even a thing anymore? Because they're so, like, things are so crazy because Iron Man and Cap are no longer there. Black Widow's gone, and Thor is now with the Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't know, Hulk may be lingering around as an Avenger. Spider-Man, I think, is an Avenger, so it's kind of disconnected, but I'm sure it will get solved in future films. Like, there's a lot of more stories to be told in the MCU, so I don't think it's going to just be lingering there for a while. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of rambling. That was just something I thought of during the scene. It felt like they were kind of setting up like a new age of the Avengers, basically, with Sam and Rhodey joining it. But I may be looking too deep into it. Maybe they're not really going for that, but it was just something I thought of that I wanted to mention, that I thought of during the episode. But yeah, so that was Rhodey's appearance, and it was kind of a cool thing, like basically a mediator between the audience going, why did you not take on the mantle of Captain America? So Rhodey literally just comes out and says, I gotta ask you, why didn't you take it? So it was cool to see Rhodey and to learn more about Sam and his backstory. But to me, the thing that I liked the most was Bucky's storyline, which ties in very well to the Captain America movies, which are my favorite movies in the MCU outside of perhaps Endgame and Infinity War. But definitely the Captain America trilogy is one of the best stories in the MCU, and Bucky is a big part of the trilogy, so it makes sense. But it was just cool to see the connections back to Winter Soldier and Civil War, how Bucky is kind of trying to make amends for the wrongs that he's done. And it was cool to see him, like, his little pact, I guess, that he made, where he goes to the people that he either wronged or helped while he was in the wrong, like the corrupt politician we see that he helped get in office. He goes back and basically just I guess, incapacitates her so she can be arrested. And it's just cool to see Bucky trying to make amends, but obviously his relationship with Yori, the old man that he was hanging out with in the episode, like, things like that are going to take time. And I do think, because Baron Zemo is going to be having a substantial role in the future of the series, and from Civil War, we could kind of tell he's a more manipulative villain, so I'm expecting him to have a manipulative role in this, and I could definitely see him trying to turn Bucky's friends that he has made as a civilian onto him, and it seems like they're perfectly setting that up with Yori, so I kind of am expecting that. It's going to be sad because Bucky's trying to get on the right path after he was brainwashed by Hydra for so long, but yeah, I don't think it's all going to end well, because we're only 2 episodes in, and I just don't think things are going to go very well. But along with that, Bucky seems to be dealing with some kind of PTSD because he's having the nightmares, which that could just go hand in hand with him making amends, but like, it definitely lingers with him, the evil things that he's done. And even though he wasn't in control of himself, he is worried that he's going to snap and go back to that brainwashed version of himself, which I definitely, again, Zemo, Hydra, they're all connected. I definitely could see somehow him being turned on Falcon at some point, and it seems like he's also got rage at Falcon for turning over the shield, which I'm getting into episode 2 again, so I need to stop, but I definitely am expecting there to be some more confrontations between Bucky and Sam as the show goes on. But apart from that, those are the storylines of each individual character, but they're going to be connected into the overarching storyline, which is the New World Order and the Flag Smashers, as they're called. We get to see Falcon. He's kind of involved in that with Torres, who is, interestingly enough, in the comics, whenever whenever Sam becomes Cap, Torres becomes the Falcon. Becomes the new Falcon, and he kind of, we get a similar dynamic between Sam and Torres as we did with Steve and Sam. So it'll be interesting to see if they follow that. I'm not expecting them to, because they haven't followed everything in the comics to the letter. So I expect them to take their own liberties with the storylines as the show progresses and opens up these potential storylines. So he may not become Falcon. He may just be kind of like a sidekick to him, similarly to how I can't remember his name, but the Robin character essentially in The Dark Knight Rises. He didn't really become Robin, but they let you know that's who that character is. So I could kind of see a similar thing playing out with him being Falcon to Sam, like his sidekick, but maybe not really becoming Falcon, if that makes sense. But but basically, the U.S. military is tracking down these Flag Smashers to figure out what they're doing, stop them, because they're trying to create the New World Order where there's no borders and it's all just connected, like united society, I guess, and basically getting things back to the way they were when half the world was eliminated by the snap. So yeah, definitely an interesting thing. I'm looking forward to seeing where it develops. I definitely could see them trying to make it more sympathetic, especially after episode 2, towards the Flag Smashers, but I'll get into that more in the review for episode 2. So yeah, that's basically where we're at. We didn't really get a lot story-wise into the overarching plot line. I mean, Zemo, all we really saw of him was his name in Bucky's notebook, so he didn't really have a large role in episode 1, which I'm assuming he's going to have a large role in the series, but I could be wrong there. I'm pretty sure he's the main villain, but we'll find out, I guess, as the story progresses. But the last thing I want to touch on in this review is the new Captain America, which, again, learn more about in episode 2, so I don't want to get too in-depth, but John Walker, who is U.S. agent in the comics, is the new Captain America, and I know I've seen a lot of negative reaction towards the character, but I feel like you basically got to give the character time to develop. We don't know really anything about him outside of the fact that he's the new Captain America, which, yeah, I understand. Sam is perhaps more worthy than him, but we need to give time for the character to develop and just figure out basically his purpose, which episode 2 begins to open that up. So yeah, that's all I really can get into with John Walker before I get into episode 2. So gonna leave it off there and give more when we get to the episode 2 review. So yeah, that was basically just a condensed version of my thoughts for the premiere episode of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It was definitely it was fun and I enjoyed it, especially like the opening sequence, the action, and the character building, especially with Bucky and Sam specifically. But I do also feel like things may have dragged a little bit. Like after the action-packed opening, it kind of got slower, but it was building the world, building the story, and setting the tone for the series. So yeah, definitely an important aspect, even though it may not have been as action-packed as I or others would have hoped. It definitely does add to the story, and I gotta say, I'm really excited to see where this goes. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this review. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts on the episode, if you agree with me, disagree with me, and stay tuned for the review of episode 2, which should be coming up in the next few days. So hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.